Public service announcement. If you brought your cell phone, you're requested to turn it off, okay? Not just put it on silent. Apparently it interferes with the workings of the microphones. Okay? Good evening, and welcome to the October 3rd, 2012 Budget and Finance meeting of the Putnam County Legislature. The sole purpose of tonight's meeting is to invite the County Executive, Mary Ellen O'Dell, and Commissioner of Finance, William Carlin, and other staff members to present the 2013 tentative budget to the Legislature. I would like you all to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. May we please have roll call? Number 1, Legislator Tamaki.
Present. Present. Here.
District 6, Legislative Gross.
Here.
District 7, Legislative Berman.
Here.
District 8, Legislative Will. Present. District 9, Legislative McCall.
Here.
District 4, Chairwoman Hunt. Present. At this meeting, the budget will be presented to the Budget and Finance Committee. After the presentation to this committee, we will have the opportunity for the legislators to ask questions of County Executive O'Dell and Commissioner Carlin. After we have asked questions after Mary Ellen's presentation, this meeting will be closed, and then the public hearing will convene at 8 p.m. At that time, the public will be given the opportunity to ask any questions that they have concerning the budget. At this moment, I would like you to welcome County Executive Mary Ellen.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to what is this administration's first budget presentation. I just want to check the audio. Everyone can hear back there? Okay. And thank you, Chairwoman Conklin, for reminding everyone around about the cell phone. As you were coming in this evening, you may or may not have noticed that there was some footage on the screen this evening. And our county historian, Dennis Castelli took the rolls of film that were in our time capsule that we unearthed on June the 9th and had them processed for replay. And so you were watching the sesquicentennial parade from 1962, and it was really it's kind of cute. Yeah, it's a little shaky, but it really is sort of interesting. So we just thought tonight would be a good way to open up this evening's program. I would like to take this time to thank the members of the public and the members of the media for attending. I'd also like to thank the employees of Putnam County for their dedicated service to to the people of Putnam County, and I'd like to make a special thank you to the department heads of the administration who worked very, very hard with myself and Deputy County Executive Walker on making sure that we developed a budget that was fair and balanced, comprehensive, and really reflected what I believe is the people's budget. I would like to thank Assemblyman Katz for joining us this evening, and I don't think I see Councilman Hayward, but I would also like to note that we do have former County Executive Paul Eldridge here this evening. And Paul, I want to thank you for your guidance and advice through this very, I found this to be a very empowering and very interesting process, we'll just say that. Now, this evening's format, for those of you who have sat here over the last, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years, however long you've been sitting here, the evening's format for the budget presentation has taken on a little bit of a different spin. We are not going to read from a prepared statement. We have instead chosen to design approximately 43 slides, which will take us through what we believe, again, is a very comprehensive presentation of the 2013 budget. You'll note that we are highlighting mandates, we're highlighting costs, we're highlighting spending, we're highlighting programs, we're highlighting efficiencies. So, with that, we'll go to first slide. Our vision: to provide a transparent, effective, and honest local government dedicated to meeting the needs of its citizens. And our budget objective is to develop a budget that provides for the health and safety and quality of life for our residents while not exceeding a true 2% cap. And what I'd like to say is that my view in this budget process, from the beginning to the middle through the end, was that I wanted to prepare a budget for the people. This is a people's budget. A summary of our proposed budget is the proposed 2013 budget equals a $139.2 million levy. An increase of $794,000 over the 2012 adopted budget, or a 0.5% increase. It includes a $2.2 million, coincidentally 2.2%, increase to meet the New York State and federal unfunded mandated program expenses. It also includes a $1.4 million reduction in Putnam County spending, or a 3.7% decrease. Our general fund surplus allocation of $3.9 million is using $600,000 less than the previous budget of $4.5 million. This budget represents a true 2% property tax increase, which is used solely to fully fund those mandates imposed by New York State and the federal government. And why do I emphasize that this is a true 2% property tax increase? Because this year in this budget, we had an opportunity to leave what was left on the table by County Executive Eldridge in his budget presentation last year of approximately $400,000 of taxpayer dollars. New York State Albany math would have allowed us to move that into this year's budget. But this administration is truly committed to a true 2% cap. And the primary reason for that is, once you book that $400,000, it is there forever. So we have decided that that $400,000 should stay where it is in the taxpayer pockets and not move forward into future budgets. The tale of two budgets. There's two ways to look at this tale. Our budget is designed in the obvious: expenses, revenues, and it's also mandates and unfunded mandates. The 2013 budget review, starting with revenues. Revenues of $139.2 million equal the sales tax of $50.6 million, the 2012 property tax of $38 million, plus the reimbursements that we do get for federal and state mandated programs of $29.3 million, department revenue of $16.7 million, general fund surplus of $3.9 million. That will equal the true 2% property tax increase. You'll see we also, just for a visual sense, you'll see the pie chart showing you the red are the mandated programs and the revenues that they bring to our budget, as well as what we have framed as the quality of life services, which is our safety services, our roads, social services is 79% is taken up in the revenue. The 2013 budget expenses, operating expenses, again, operations, state mandates, federal mandated programs, $101.3 million. Quality of life services, we refer to them as the quality of life services because they deliver to us what we expect here as taxpayers. They are the public safety, our sheriff's office, parks and recreation, emergency services, office for the aging, and then the outside agencies. And the total cost of those are $37.9 million. And again, we reference the pie chart just for an additional visual aid. The mandated programs. 73% of our 2013 budget is mandated. And we've listed the major mandated programs, top 14 of more than 200 programs. And we've itemized the costs accordingly. We highlight in the red Medicaid, because the Medicaid line is the single largest line in the Putnam County budget. Approximately 5,000 residents are currently Medicaid recipients. Our $9.8 million represents only the local share. If you factor in the New York State and the federal funding to those residents, the total is $92 million for 5,000 residents. This screen illustrates the increase in the mandated expenses. Noting again, we have been handed a bill, an extra bill this year of $2.2 million. You'll see in the bar graph the 2012 adopted as opposed to the 2013 tentative, managing that 2.2 expense of mandates. Reduction in expenses related to the quality of life services. You'll see that we have reduced spending $1.4 million or 3.7, showing again the visual, the dramatic decrease. The difference between the mandated increases and the reduction in county expenses results in the need to increase the property tax by the true 2%. Mandates up, expense down. Can I get a water spell? A closer look at the mandated programs. There are more than 200 New York State and federal mandated programs. They consume the entire property tax levy, and they also consume the majority of our Putnam County sales tax dollars. And where does the property tax levy go? Mandated programs represent, again, $101.3 million of expense to the county taxpayers. However, the county receives $29.3 million in reimbursements. Thus, the net cost to Putnam County taxpayers to fund these mandated programs is $72 million. Thank you. This consumes 100% of the property tax levy of $38.8 million, plus the 66% of the sales tax revenue. What is a mandate? A mandate requires Putnam County to strictly adhere to rules set by the state and federal governments that define the scope, eligibility, frequency of service, and amount of benefits provided to people within our county. Putnam County has a very limited ability to control the cost of state and federal mandates. However, this administration is focusing on developing working relationships with elected officials, including Assemblyman Katz, who's been a tremendous advocate for us in Putnam County for mandate relief. other counties within the NISAC organization, within New York State and Albany to encourage or beg for mandate relief. What are some of the mandated programs in Putnam County? You highlighted Medicaid earlier. Temporary assistance to needy families, child welfare, food stamps, early intervention and preschool education, child support collections, adult protective services, and, of course, the EPA-mandated MS4 program. The annual growth of many of the state-mandated programs exceeded by inflation. I'm not going to list them all. Take the time to take a look at them. But you'll note that, in fact, the increase in pension and health care costs represent an increase of $1.2 million in our budget, and again, consume our entire 2% cap by themselves. And sometimes the picture is best. The legislature, it's not you guys. This doesn't make that clear. Pushing that mandate rock against the wall against the counties. They're squeezing us. Eventually the math overwhelms any budget. So, with the unfunded mandate challenge, how did we balance our 2013 budget? Devil's in the details. Increasing revenue projections. These are 4 high-level programs, and we'll drill down deeper as we move on. Chapter 31, the sale of county-owned properties acquired by tax foreclosure. Sales tax, projection increase based upon current economic conditions. Putnam County Clerk Dennis Sant, his Renew Putnam program, and the Consumer Affairs Department revenue initiatives by Jean Marie Noel. Decreasing operating expenses. No raises, but no layoffs. A 10% reduction in overtime across the board. Limited motor vehicle purchases, reduction in transit services, establishing a capital projects reserve fund, electric commodity charge decrease, Office for Aging, efficiencies and consolidation. And a new program, Putnam Invest in Leaders of Tomorrow, also known as the pilot program. Increasing revenue. Chapter 31. The sale of county-owned properties acquired by tax foreclosure. What we have decided to do in collaboration with the Putnam County Legislature is to change the way we sold the properties that we acquired by tax foreclosure. Historically, the properties were listed at the beginning price of the tax arrears themselves. This year, we decided to market the properties at their assessed value, if not closer to their market value. So what we have done is we have put out an RFP to our local real estate brokers describing the goals we were trying to meet. We've collected those and we'll be probably selecting a broker or brokers within the next few weeks. The 2008 properties are ready for sale. We're hopeful that this sale will not only generate revenue, return the revenue that we've already laid out to make the counties, make the towns and the school districts whole, but we're also hoping to get these properties returned back to the tax rolls. We believe that there should be an increased revenue of $424,000 by this first sale. We believe that to be very conservative, and that is because the numbers dictate the assessed value of the 2008 acquired properties equals, now remember, assessed value, equals $5.3 million. The tax arrears, again, the money that we've already put out is 1.1. That gives us a net and taking the, of 4.24 and taking the net of booking 10%, very conservative, 424,000. And again, examples. Let's take one residential dwelling and have a successful sale. The net proceeds of that one residential dwelling could conservatively net us $250,000. Slight increase in sales tax projection. The 2012 budget included a projection of $49.8 million. We're anticipating being $1 million ahead of the 2012 adopted budget amount. Therefore, we included an increase of sales tax revenue of $800,000, or 1.6 over the 2012 budget. Other contributing factors to the sales tax revenue: focused solicitations of Putnam County-friendly commercial growth, including a refocus on the EDC, or the Economic Development Corporation, keen attention to tourism opportunities, and the establishment of a higher education facility in Putnam County. Putnam County Clerk Dennis Stamps Renew Putnam program. We have worked with the county clerk, and we believe we should realize an increased revenue of $100,000 through an innovative program designed to work closer with local and regional business owners and residents to facilitate the registration of vehicles at Putnam County's DMV in order to capture the revenue that would otherwise go to New York State. Consumer Affairs Department revenue initiatives. Projections of increasing revenue by $174,000. Biggest item here, called item pricing, providing the opportunity for a waiver for a fee which allows the participant to avoid the costs associated with item pricing. I'm just going to stop for a second and describe this. I'm going to example Home Depot. They have nuts and bolts and screwdrivers and air conditioners. For a waiver for a fee, they will not be responsible to have to ticket item every washer, bolt, screwdriver, all of those items. Every surrounding county of around us is already engaged in this program. We're bringing it here to Putnam County. In addition to that, other than the obvious streamlining processes and realizing cost savings, Consumer Affairs Department is very focused on generating lost revenue that we feel we've lost opportunities over the years. Decreasing operating expenses. The obvious: no raises, no layoffs. Countywide, 10% reduction in overtime. This initiative provides a savings of $377,000 over the 2012 adopted budget. But we're going to do it smart. There will be a contingency fund representing 2.5%, which will be set up for the Sheriff's Department and our highway and facilities. In addition, we'll realize the modification of Section Law 1806 in the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law, which will reduce overtime in our local courts. We're also asking for an increased oversight of sick time and overtime and their use across all departments. And of course, we're expecting full implementation of the video conferencing program this year. We've limited motor vehicle purchases. We're increasing our focus on fleet management practices. This budget proposes only 5 replacement sheriff vehicles for road patrol, 1 replacement vehicle for the Sheriff's Civil Division, and 1 replacement for the Bureau of Criminal Investigation. A reduction in transit services. The transit system projected 2013 cost for Putnam County is $4.1 million. The existing 5-year contract with First Transit ends December 31st of this year. An RFP has been sent out for the next 5-year period, and the proposals included significant cost increases. In order to manage the cost escalation, an evaluation of cost and usage was conducted, and as a result, this budget proposes a 16% cost reduction of the transit system, equaling $650,000. We're looking to establish a capital projects reserve fund. As an example only, the sale of county-owned 34 Glenina Avenue. If this sale of this building were to be approved by the Putnam County Legislature, the net proceeds of the sale could be earmarked into a capital projects reserve fund of approximately $800,000. And the other benefits of that sale would be the opportunity to place the building back on the property tax rolls, bringing back $20,000 in rateable, and the opportunity to avoid maintenance and operational costs associated with that building, approximately $40,000. We have an opportunity to review the electric commodity charge, the savings of which are about $127,000 as compared to the 2012 budget. The existing contract for electric commodity is 8 cents per kilowatt hour. However, the existing market rate is about 5 cents per kilowatt hour. So we're out. Requests for bids for lower cost provider to reflect existing commodity costs and the all-time low natural gas prices. And a special note, each 1 cent reduction per kilowatt equals $50,000 in taxpayer savings. Office for the Aging, efficiencies and consolidation. Our Office of the Aging Director has reduced her cost by $336,000. We've highlighted several ways. She outstationed the buses over in Putnam Valley, which eliminates wear and tear on the fleece and the obvious fuel costs. Kitchen operations are now consolidated to Mahopac's Kohler Senior Center. And we are partnering with the sheriff to rebid the food contract, to reduce the food lines, and to enhance the quality of the meals. Putnam invests in Leaders of Tomorrow pilot. We're calling this pilot. This initiative establishes a program to provide Putnam County high school and college students the opportunity to work during the summer. Provides key opportunities that help the current and future employment of our youth. Provides an opportunity to evaluate local talent for future positions within Putnam County government. And this program creates a cost-effective workforce and helps to build a succession plan. Outside agencies, there are no funding cuts. As a matter of fact, our libraries will receive a 3% increase over the 2012 adopted budget, or $18,000. And this is in recognition that there are increased requirements being placed on our libraries as our unemployment levels remain high with continued uncertainty in the near future. Opportunities looking toward the future. Some of the places we find we can capture more efficiencies and save some more tax dollars. Risk management initiatives. We have a new position in county government. We have a risk manager, Adrian Spadaccini. Happens to be your birthday today. Adrian has identified the Return to Work program through workers' compensation. I mentioned earlier a higher education facility. We classify that under the 3 Ps, the public-private partnership opportunity. And here's something I want everyone to take away tonight. Community colleges. Dutchess Community College, our neighbor to the north. The county cost per student has just increased 55% since last year. Westchester Community College, our neighbors to the south. The county cost per student increased 10% since last year. We need to continue our consolidation efforts with other municipalities and other county governments. The Chapter 31, the sale of the 2009 properties, which will be ready to go on the market no later than January. Tourism initiatives, just to example, the RFP that we sent out just to see what was out there. The Hill Agor Farm and the farm-to-table concept. Managing jail costs. 2 defined programs. The drug court coordinator, which Putnam County assumed its own responsibilities when the state walked away from it. That will assist with our board-in revenues and our board-out expenses. And again, video conferencing. Okay, future risk. This is where it gets a little scary. Future risk, the sales tax extension. The 1% additional sales tax expires, or sunsets as some of us know it as, effective November 30th, 2013. And the consequences, if it's not renewed by the New York State Legislature, we will lose $1.2 million just for the remaining month of December in 2013. And we will lose approximately $14.4 million in 2014 revenues. In summary, the loss of this revenue would result in massive service cuts and/or a property tax increase of up to 36%. Continuing, the state and federal reimbursements from our mandated programs are decreasing. And while the number of participants and costs are increasing, which will require Putnam County to severely decrease the quality of life programs, increase program fees, deplete the general fund surplus, and raise property taxes. And again, just to summarize of the proposed budget, we have a 139.2 proposed budget with an increase of 0.5% over the 2012 adopted budget. We're managing the 2.2 that New York State handed us. We decreased our spending by $1.4 million, and we used $600,000 left out of the general surplus fund than last year. This budget represents a true 2% cap. No smoke and mirrors, no spin. This is the true 2%. And all of this is to pay New York State for the mandates. Carolyn?
Yeah, I just have two very brief comments. I want to compliment you and your administration on reinstating what we used to call the intern program, which you're calling the athlete pilot program. That was a program that was phased out only about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was really not only good for the purposes you delineated as far as recognizing local talent, bringing them up, and giving a good summer job to our high school and college students, but also, it relieved particularly the executive department and the finance department when a lot of the budgeting gets done. Your part of the budget starts really in the summer, and this really helps the departments manage their workload during the summer as well. So I'm very encouraged by that, and I thank you for including that. I'm very interested also in the program in the Consumer Affairs Department with respect to the opt-out. I'd like to learn more about that. I don't know if there's any statutory changes that have to be made, because I do know it's in the code.
We do need legislative,
okay.
Yes, that will be a partnership.
When this was first put in the early mid-90s, I think it was a very close vote. I wasn't on the legislature at the time, but I do remember that it was a debate at the time was, is this just another unfunded mandate to our businesses? And when I shop, I look at the rack and see what the price is on the rack, and everything underneath should conform to that. So I think that's a great step in the right direction, and look forward to working with you on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also like the idea of a pilot project, getting youngsters in the high school into the county government to know what's going on. I've seen it work in state situations and local county situations, very important. You touched on the idea of a possible community college for Putnam County at the beginning. I think it was a great idea. I know it takes a lot of planning and thought, but what a great idea. My only concern is the sales tax. When you look at, depending on who you look at and read about and all, 2013 could be a bad year. That's my concern.
Yeah.
And,
because gas prices could go even higher.
And a double-digit recession, that's out there.
Yeah.
I'm worried about 2013, so that impacts these risks that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found this very interesting. I'm glad to see some of the things that we came out with, like motor vehicle, generating more money. It's money that we're missing out on. And I'm impressed. I see some things where we're going to pick up some extra money.
Yeah, good job. Really good job. A lot of creative thinking here, and I really like it. I see a lot of things for the first time in my 4th year in the legislature, but your whole staff, big plus in this.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
Okay, our next meeting is not starting until 8 o'clock. Because it's the public hearing.
Fantastic, you too?
I think that
You know, however, if we finish the public hearing before 8 o'clock, we can still keep it open.
Yeah,
For 10 minutes more.
Who you can say?
Well, no, somebody.
Totally kidding. Totally kidding. But I do want to, if I can, I want to talk about the pilot program while we have a second here. One of the other reasons that we didn't touch upon in the presentation was, you know, for those of us who have children who've gone through college and high school, we all know what this summer was for them and their friends to try to find job opportunities, good job opportunities. So this lifts the burden off of the families, the taxpayers, the mom and dad who have to fund that kid through the summer, you know. So there are, you know, the obvious reasons, as we said, and the succession plan itself. I mean, right now, not myself not included, we are an aging workforce, right? You know, we do need to start to look to the youth, especially now that Adrian's 52, right? And Jimmy over there, where's Jimmy? Jimmy's, what, 48 now, right? So we thought, you know, it's really a good idea to try to get the kids in, to see if they decide, you know, if this is something that they'd like to pursue as a career.
Okay, since we decided to go ahead before the time, we thought you were going to have a longer speech.
How long was it, by the way?
32 minutes.
Not that time. This time I would like to call the public hearing on the tentative budget as presented by the county executive. Will you please stand for the pledge?
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call.
District number 1, legislator Tanya. District 2, legislator Oliveri.
Present.
District 3, legislator Osborne.
Present.
District 5, legislator O'Donnell. District 6, legislator Gross.
Here.
District 7, legislator Berman.
Here.
District 8, legislator Bush. Present. District 9, legislator DePaul.
Here.
District 4, Chairwoman Hunt.
Present. Thank you very much. At this time, we will have the reading of the public notice.
Legal notice. Notice is hereby given that the Budget and Finance Committee of the Legislature of the County of Putnam will hold a public hearing on the tentative budget for the year 2013 as presented by the County Executive on Wednesday, October 3rd, 2012 at 7 p.m. at the Emergency Operations Center, 112 Old Route 6, Carmel, New York. Notice is also given that any interested party persons may review a copy of the tentative budget for the year 2013 at the office of the clerk of the Putnam County Legislature, room 321, 44 Night Avenue, Carmel, New York, anytime during regular business hours after October 3rd, 2012, by the order of the Putnam County Legislature, and so Schoenfeld, clerk of the legislature.
Thank you very much. At this time, we would invite anyone in the public that would like to come up to the microphone, which is right here, and state your name and ask any questions that you have on the budget. That's it. Thank you, Cheryl.
I'm Assuming Steve Katz, and this is the second of the budget discussions that I've been to. They're both excellent. I want to tell you, I don't have a question. I just want to say I am so impressed with a really well thought out budget. It's after being up in Albany. I can tell you, this is truly a well thought out budget. I think that the county can be very proud of the work that's been done by Mary Ellen and by the entire team on this one. So I just want to say that, and I think nothing of good things ahead for Putnam County with a budget like this.
Thank you. With you,
First of all, I'd just like to say it's always a privilege to follow our great Senator, Steve Katz. Steve, thank you for everything you do for Putnam County. I truly appreciate it. I'd like to thank our county executive, Mary Ellen Lindell, our chair of the legislature, Mary Conklin, all the legislators that are here tonight, all of our elected officials and appointed officials. It's a great honor to be with you all tonight. My name is Donald B. Smith, and I'm a resident and I'm a taxpayer in Putnam County, and I'm the sheriff of Putnam County as well. I reside at 141 Dykeman Road in the town of Kent, but of course it has a Carmel mailing address 10512. I'd just like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words tonight. First of all, let me just say what a great country we live in. A great democracy, which is the beacon of freedom, hope, and justice throughout the entire world. We have a Constitution. We have a Bill of Rights. They give us many freedoms, the freedoms to assemble and the freedom of speech. And it's under that Constitution that I come here tonight. As a citizen and as an elected official and a retired member of our armed forces who has served our country, I cherish those freedoms which I enjoy, and I especially cherish them tonight, having the opportunity to come here and speak to you, the people's representatives, the elected representatives that comprise Putnam County government. You know, Winston Churchill once said that democracy is the worst form of government, but thankfully he finished the sentence and said, except for other forms of government which have been tried from time to time. Democracy is not always efficient, it's not always easy, it's not always pretty, but it has served us well for more than 236 years in this great experiment which we call the United States of America. Built into our government, at all levels of government, there are separations of powers, there are checks and balances. They not only protect our rights, they protect our freedoms, they protect our individual ideas, and they also protect us from a culture of corruption. Listen, in any government, there will always be differences of opinion, differences in ideas. From time to time, there'll be friction between elected officials. That's to be expected and that's to be celebrated. There may be honest disagreements, but there will also be times when these disagreements involve differences in basic principles, core values, ethics, and sometimes even violations of law. So tonight, I felt it was very important that I meet with the legislative body before you start your work on the 2013 proposed budget to share with you some lessons learned from the 2012 budget process, including some serious missteps, lapses in judgment, and perhaps even violations of law that should never be repeated again in any budget process, and we especially do not want them repeated in the 2013 budget. During the 2012 budget process, the Putnam County Board of Legislators was presented with a proposal entitled Law Department Social Services Proposals, which called for the termination of one of the attorney's positions and reduced compensation for another attorney in the Department of Social Services. That proposal contravened the normal budget process and did not come from the county executive. In fact, it didn't come from the executive branch of government at all. In fact, that legislative proposal reached the legislative body without being reviewed by the Commissioner of Social Services, Mike Piazza, who was the appointed head of the affected department and the supervisor of the attorneys who were targeted. Nor did it come from Paul Eldridge, who was serving as the county executive at that time. In effect, this proposal before the legislature last year was thinly disguised as a cost-saving restructuring measure for county legal services. But in reality, it was intended as a retaliatory action against the targeted social services attorneys. Those attorneys had performed their duties in an outstanding manner and were held in high regard by Commissioner of Social Services Piazza.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, I'm sorry. Is this really the forum you want to express these opinions at? And Madam Chair,
I think this affects
our council.
I think this affects the legislative process. Sam, let me do one thing for you.
What I'm concerned about, sir, is that, you know, the statements being made, they would need a more focused discussion than just, you know, you're reading out of these accusations. I'm concerned about that, Sheriff. I would be for any of our people.
Sam, I'll close. I'll let you shut me down, but Sam, I want to say one thing.
If you think this is the forum.
No, before I close, Sam, I just want to say one thing. In this speech tonight, I say, tonight, I also want to thank County Legislator Sam Oliverio, who I also believe was walking tall during the budget process last year. When the proposal affecting the social service attorney surfaced, Sam said, I quote Sam, "I will not have blood on my hands. This is a massacre. Fight for your department, Mike," referring to Commissioner Piazza. Quoting further, "I am serious. This is not good." This is you talking, Sam. Not good for our clientele, the most needy people in our county. This is crazy. This is nuts. Sam, those are your direct quotes. And I will tell you, in my view, and I've known Sam Oliverio, Legislator Sam Oliverio, for many years. In my view, and you're going to complete your service, I believe, this year?
2 years.
2 years from now. I believe that was your finest hour, or at least one of your finest hours as a legislator. Sam, I respect you. If you don't think this is appropriate tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I will close my input at the legislative process. But I am a citizen of Putnam County. I pay taxes. I live in the town of Kent. And I'll just close by saying I would ask the legislators, please have your antennas up. Please look for retaliation. Please make sure that you go back as a legislative body and review that 2012 process. I will tell you, something was rotten in Denmark. And I just want to make sure that the 2013 budget process and every budget process that goes forward is done in accordance with the law. It's above board. And that's why I'm here tonight. I will close with that, Sam, and I thank you all, and I'm available to talk to any of you if you'd like to talk to me more about this matter. But I will tell you, I am deeply concerned about things that are going on in Putnam County. I'm deeply concerned about last year's budget process, and I want to make sure that this year's budget process is done above board, with integrity, and in doing the right things for the residents of Putnam County. And with that, I'll close early, but I will close. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else who would like to address us? Yes, Chancellor Kerry.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gina Trusky. I live in the town of Kent, and I would describe myself as an avid library user. So, first of all, I'd like to thank you, County Executive Bill, for your support for Putnam County libraries as reflected in the budget. And I echo your remarks that libraries really are being asked to do more and more. The way I see it, county funding for libraries delivers a terrific return on investment. And here's why. Putnam County residents are using our libraries more than ever. They find the services libraries offer essential, especially since the economy went south. I visit my library frequently, and the change I've noticed is there's always a line at the checkout desk. That's because people who normally bought books and DVDs have decided to save a little money by borrowing those items instead. And did you know that people with e-book readers can use their library cards to borrow from a collection of over 2,300 books? Commuters can download any of the 1,200 audiobooks to help make their trips to school or work a little more pleasant. And they basically figure, why buy when you can borrow? Computer stations in my library are always occupied. In order to save money, many folks in our county have given up their home internet accounts, and they now access the internet at the library. They're using computers to search for jobs, fill out job applications, apply for student loans, complete their medical forms, take practice tests, access the databases that this county helps fund, and complete a variety of other essential tasks. For entertainment at no cost, library programs can't compete. There are musicians and speakers and concerts. The libraries offer a variety of in-house programs for children, teens, adults, seniors, everyone. Libraries also offer their card holders free passes to many city and regional museums, art galleries, and other attractions. I hope everyone in this room knows about these things and takes advantage of them. It's as simple as using your library card. Also, I think it's important to note that our preschoolers are filling storytime programs that our libraries offer. Sometimes they come in their pajamas. Bouncing babies, starry-eyed toddlers, wiggles and giggles, time for twos. These programs introduce our very young children to books, favorite plays, and songs, helping build their literacy skills from a very early age. The libraries also offer our school-age children a variety of programs, and the homework help that is supported by county funding offers tutoring for students during after-school hours. All these programs that help our next generation of learners become successful in school and successful as lifelong readers are open to all children in all of our communities. How great is that? Because our libraries collaborate with one another and employ economies of scale to save money through resource and cost sharing, they're models of efficiency. The result is savings for taxpayers and more books for the buck. For all the ways our libraries provide quality of life services and meet the needs of our Putnam County residents, especially those that are hard hit by economic turndown, the county's investment in our libraries is well worth it. Thank you again for your support.
Thank you.
No lying, this is good. It is good. I just want to follow up on Jean's comments. I'm Patty Carr, I'm the director of the Patterson Library, but I'm here for the 8 libraries in the county. And just to follow up on Jean's comments, which I think were really give you a good view of what's going on in libraries, I wanted to address the 3% increase at $18,000 in your proposal, which I think libraries totally appreciate, and wanted to give you just a little bit more information on why it's so significant. We are dealing with people looking for new skills, particularly computer skills, in order to repurpose themselves, get new jobs, and even to satisfy the needs of the jobs they're already in. So it's happening every day, and I truly thought by this time in life, maybe, that need would be reduced already. Everybody already knows how to do that. It's not true. Every day, we're getting more and more people coming in that need these skills. And in library land, they know that, and they've been addressing that for quite some time. And so the trickle-down, just so you know briefly, goes like this. Federal money is helping LSTA grants help the states, so that New York State put together a grant, the New York State Digital Literacy Grant Program, which has already been hard at work, training the trainers, so that library people are being trained. My staff is already being trained more on how to work with people one-on-one, because even though in the last 3 years we put on more than 20 computer classes, but they're projected like this. And what everybody's learning is that goes only so far. You really need one-on-one computer training. So the state is telling us we need to do this, okay? Well, it takes money and it takes the time and effort to do it. In Patterson, coincidentally and not so, we've just earned some state grant funding that will put in a portable laptop computer lab so that we can do this more and make it one-on-one and make it really work. And other libraries in the county are doing this already if they're able to, and they'll be looking to do it more. So this funding seems like a small amount of money, and yet it will go the distance to really help a lot more people learn the computer skills they need one-on-one. And so the reason I wanted to get up here and say that is because the next time the library people will come visit you as the legislators to give you more information on these things. I will particularly happen to be at budget meetings for the Patterson Library, so I won't be able to say hi and tell you these important things that we wanted to do. So I just wanted to wish you all well through the budget season. We all appreciate this proposal and appreciate the work you do. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Since it's unclear we have any other speakers, however, this public hearing was scheduled to stay to convene at 8 o'clock. It's 7:54. I suggest that 9 of us stay here until at least 8 o'clock in case anybody wants to speak. And certainly, that doesn't mean everybody else has to stay, but there could be people wanting to show up at 8 o'clock and do the public hearing, but perhaps we...
How about play the parade?
The movie's great.
The movie, Dennis, you missed, I gave a little brief. Why don't you come up and talk about what...
Show us where you are in there.
I give everybody an opportunity to take off if you wish. One of the things that was in the sign capsules was a series of 5 rolls of film from 1962. We sent them off to be converted to a DVD. And the company that did the conversion sent a piece of paper back that had about 6 places for check marks. Creases in the film, they checked it. Scratches on the film, they checked it. Out of focus, they checked it. Shaky, they checked it. Okay? So I'm giving you fair warning that this film suffers from all of those things, but it's 50 years old. So it was done with a handheld 8mm camera and has since been converted to DVD. So, Tom has it. Parade and fireworks from the sesquicentennial. Thanks for the opportunity to do this.
Thank you for doing it.
And by the way, there is a display at 34, the old automobile showroom right next to George's, where Mike Bartolotti's office is. There's a display of the content. So there's a display of the capsule and its content. I see shaky, out of focus. Thank
That's right.
What we don't know is who took the pictures. It'd be interesting to understand why they took certain pictures, you know, what their interest was.
They didn't even know.
Oh, baton.
There's not one of them there that's bought the 100 pounds of
Look at that, that is
company that did the video. I selected what music to put.
Page 62, you guys didn't have.
That's water.
Harry said it, yeah.
Yeah, I saw Harry, yeah. Up at Scylla.
Dan took that to the prom.
Probably the emergency weren't open.
Folks are ribbing me about being in these images 50 years ago. Myself and probably 70% of the population of Putnam County were in the Bronx 50 years ago.
That's the
World War I veterans then. That was the 40 and 8. I don't know whether you saw that. Yeah, 40 and 8. Back then, it was a heck of a parade. Right. The Carmel historian, Brian Vangor, did extraordinary videos this year of our bicentennial parade and some of the bicentennial events. And I wonder if 50 years from now it will look as archaic as this does. Yeah. That's Bruce. About
5.